Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, ambassadors, senator, vice rectors, and representatives of our government. And good evening to our audience joining us online from around the world. My name is Ima Kabuti. I am an international committee member of the Catalan National Assembly, and I will be Mistress of Ceremonies here today. First of all, thank you for your interest in coming to this event. In today's event, we will first hear about the latest report on secessionist movements from the Catalonia Global Institute, Catalonia's first international affairs think tank. And afterwards, we'll focus on 4 of our UNPO counterparts, Somaliland, Iranian Kurdistan, Sindh, and East Turkestan. For those who do not know, UNPO is the Unrepresented Nations and Peoples Organization, a large and diverse group of nations and peoples that are at different stages in their respective self-determination processes. It was conceived in the 80s and formally founded in 1991. In the past, several members of UNPO have gained full independence and joined the United Nations, leaving the UNPO, which we consider to be a most positive and desirable outcome. As our event title suggests, the 4 featured nations will share with us their trajectories as a people and their own stories and experiences of success, resilience, and survival. I think that you will find them fascinating. The roundtable will be moderated by Mr. Josep Alay, Professor of Asian History at the University of Barcelona and Director of the Office of President Carles Puigdemont. But first, we're going to start with a welcoming note from Dolors Feliu, President of the Catalan National Assembly. Please.
Good evening. Good evening. I want to welcome you all to this event on the struggle to self-determination and independence worldwide. I am very pleased to see this huge turnout. I'm very grateful to everyone who has made it possible. I wish to start by thanking Josep Alay for agreeing to moderate today's roundtable. I also wish to thank Dolkun Isa, Edna Adan Ismail, Rubina Greenwood, and Taimor Aliassi, who will share their knowledge and experiences with all of us. I wish to thank also Abel here, and Daniel Roldán of the Catalonia Global Institute, whose comparative study will give us some insights on secessionist movement. Last but not least, I wish to thank the Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona hosting our event in this beautiful venue. Thank you. It is essential for minorities and unrepresented people to have their voices heard in a safe space. This is sadly not often the case, which makes today's gathering even more important. We need to find neutral spaces where we can debate, advocate, and counteract the discourse of the bigger states. Minorities need to stick together and show solidarity with each other. Every nation has its own particularities, but the issues at stake are the same. It's a matter of democracy, human rights, and justice. The Catalan National Assembly has been working hard to internationalize the Catalan conflict and to bring together the Catalan diaspora through our foreign assemblies. Since 2018, we have been a member of the Unrepresented Nations and Peoples Organization, trying to put self-determination on the international agenda. It is a great honor for us to host this year's General Assembly of UNPO. We are also truly honored that our former president, Elisenda Paluzie, hold the UNPO's vice presidency. We wish the UNPO's members a very productive and successful General Assembly. And we hope that those of you who have traveled to Catalonia have a wonderful time here. Without further ado, I hope that you all enjoy the exciting speakers to come.
Thank you, Dolors. So now it is the turn of the Catalonia Global Institute, a center of analysis of international affairs with objectives such as providing the Catalan society with independent critical thinking in global politics. The Catalonia Global Institute's activities are rooted in the idea that the international system is unfortunately governed primarily by states, which tend to ignore the fact that nations and peoples are free to determine their national interests and, as prominently stated in the UN Covenants, have also the right to self-determinate. The Catalonia Global Institute is a think tank that aspires to work with public and private agents for the internationalization of Catalonia in terms of vision and aspiration of statehood. And here they are today to present their latest report titled Secessionist Movements and Internationalization Strategies, a comparative study. Unfortunately, Geoffrey Rucabert had to cancel his participation in our event, and as he is literally stuck in Sudan in the midst of the latest outbreaks of violence and waiting for a safe time to return. So I'm going to invite now Abel Riu, the Catalonia Global Institute's president, and Daniel Roldán, its editor-in-chief, to come to the table and tell us about their reports, research, and conclusions.
Thank you very much, Ima, for a very nice introduction, and good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today in this very special occasion. It's quite a unique event. I cannot recall an event of these features in Barcelona, at least for a very long time, for many, many years, with this kind of representatives and the scope of this debate. Let me first of all congratulate, of course, the Catalan National Assembly and the UNPO for the organization of this event and for the upcoming General Assembly that we hope it would be a great success. And a special salute for all the UNPO members, representatives that are here today with us and are going to spend the next days in Barcelona. Let me say you welcome to Barcelona. Welcome to the capital of Catalonia, and welcome, hopefully, sooner than later, to the capital of the future free and independent Catalan state. As Ima mentioned, and I really appreciate this introduction that she did of our organization, the Catalonia Global Institute. We are new, quite new. We were born in 2021, roughly 2 years ago, non-partisan think tank focused on international relations and aimed at providing analysis and ideas on international affairs. With the particularity that we try to do so with the sense and aspiration of statehood for Catalonia. There are other think tanks, there are other institutions in Catalonia based in Barcelona working in this field, but they are unfortunately not other organizations with this focus, with this approach that understand international relations from the point of view of Catalonia being a subject that aspires to become, at some point, one day, an actor, a free and independent state of international affairs. And we are here today to present our 6th report, actually, which is called Secessionist Movements and Internationalization Strategies, Comparative Studies. But before beginning, let me, again, as Imma did so, but I would like to insist on this, on the situation of our colleague and good friend, Jofre Rocaberta. He was supposed to be here today with us, sitting right here or somewhere here in this table, presenting together with us this report. He has been one of the authors of this report, but on Sunday he was supposed to take a flight from Khartoum back to Europe. And the day before that, there was an armed uprising by a rebel paramilitary group in Sudan. And since then, he has been trapped somewhere in that country, and the situation is quite uncertain. We really don't know when and how he will be able to be relieved and rescued and being taken away from the country. The situation is, as I said, quite uncertain. There are battles in some regions in the country, which make very difficult any sort of evacuation at this moment. So we are really following very closely the situation there, trying to be as much as contact as possible with him. And we hope that the situation will be solved sooner than later. And from here, we send once again all our support to Jofre. Having said this, yes, we will move to we have very limited time, so we'll try to be very brief. So, moving to the study proper, as I mentioned, our 6th study, I would like to devote some time to talk about the methodology and the motivation for it. First of all, the main motivation is pure curiosity and obviously interest into, from a Catalan perspective, trying to understand how national liberation movements of stateless nations have carried out their internationalization per diplomatic actions and strategies in order to succeed when it comes to the political goals of becoming an independent, fully or partially recognized state. We have chosen 10 cases of the 20th century and beginning of 21st century. And we really were very interested in to understand the best practices and to obtain know-how, which could be obviously used at some point by Catalan stakeholders and institutions and representatives, either from now or especially when there will be new windows of opportunity in the hopefully near future for the Catalan self-determination movement to move on when it comes to the goals of becoming a fully independent state. We have chosen 3 kind of cases and in order to have a broadest as possible selection of possibilities and the range of different possibilities when it comes to actions, when it comes to engagement with international actors, not only with states, but also with international organizations. These 3 categories are, first of all, fully or widely recognized UN or non-UN members. And here we have 5 cases that we've chosen. Ireland, first of all, Slovenia, Israel, South Sudan. These 4 are fully recognized states, and therefore they are UN members, with all the rights as states recognized by all the international community. And also within this category, we included Kosovo, which is a widely recognized state, approximately by roughly 100 UN member states, but is not a member of the UN because there are some, especially 2 members of the Security Council, Russia and China, that veto its accession as a full member of the UN. The second group the second typology of cases is state-like entities with limited or non-recognition at all. And here we have two cases. Taiwan, also called Republic of China, and which is recognized by a handful of states, and actually was a member of the UN until the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. And Somaliland, which is present today. Edna Adan is a representative of not only the president of UNPO, but also former foreign minister of Somaliland. So it's a pleasure also to count with a representative of one of the cases today with us, which unfortunately today still hasn't been recognized by any UN member. And the third typology of cases is cases that might enjoy some degree of institutionalization, but the international engagement is basically based in calling for some sorts of support because they do not have any sort of territorial control on the territory that they claim to be sovereign. What means that they are not de facto states. And here we have three cases that we have analyzed: Iraqi Kurdistan, Scotland, and Catalonia. When it comes to the regional distribution, we focus on three continents: Europe, Asia, and Africa. We have 5 cases from Europe, 2 cases from the African continent, and 3 from Asia. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, there are 4. It's Catalonia, Kosovo, Somaliland, and Taiwan. They are actual or former UNPO members. When it comes to what we have looked at, right? Here we have 5 aspects. First of all, we have the goals, all right? What kind of objectives have these cases try to achieve, especially when it comes to secure either recognition or secure a de facto favorable status. And later on, Danny will focus more on explaining the main findings on this aspect. The second one is the narrative or the arguments that have been used, both from a political and legal perspective, in order precisely to achieve these goals, addressed mainly at states, but also at international organizations. The third aspect is the geostrategic environment and the exogenous interest. Here we looked at issues related with geography and geopolitics, right? What has been the framework, the geopolitical framework in which these cases have been developing their activities, and what has been the actual or potential role of actors, especially states, that have been that develop some sort of interest, either against the success of these cases. And here we're talking mainly about, obviously, state and especially regional, both regional and global powers. The fourth aspect that we've looked at is the institutional action. That means what institutional and parastate means and structures have the cases developed, designed, and used to deploy a paradiplomatic or diplomatic action and activity overseas. And at the same time, we've looked at the interactions with international organizations, both regional and global one. That means the UN especially. And last, we've looked at the role of a basic fundamental aspect here. It is the role of the diaspora, right? How the cases have been articulating, using, making use, exploiting the fact that a part of their respective population are precisely in countries of interest when it comes to moving on with the goals of either recognition, either engagement, etc. Having said this, we move now to the findings. So I give the floor to my colleague Danny, and he will relate and continue with this. Danny? Yes.
Thank you, Abel. Well, unfortunately, as you said, we don't have much time, so I will go quickly over some of the main findings that we have found in this report. Well, regarding the goals, first of all, we have to say that, of course, international recognition is one of, well, basically the shared goal of every secessionist movement, and attaining full UN membership is also a fully shared goal. This makes life easier for any state, and of course this doesn't mean that the fact of not being recognized when you are exerting de facto sovereignty makes it impossible to exert this sovereignty and to exist in some more or less normal conditions. We have analyzed a couple of cases in this study, which are the cases of Taiwan and Somaliland, and we have seen that these states are indeed able to successfully engage with that recognition with other states, and that, for instance, they reach partnerships, they are able to successfully promote foreign direct investments. So in this regard, I mean, we have seen that it is possible to be independent without achieving this formal recognition, without achieving UN membership, no? But even in these cases, we clearly see that these de facto states do not renounce to the objective of attaining recognition by the wider international community and attaining full UN membership. In this regard, I have to say that parastatal structures that allow the establishment of territorial control are an important element when it comes to achieving recognition, and mainly because this creates a number of fait accompli on the ground that are difficult to ignore on the side of recognized independent states. But of course, this doesn't guarantee at 100% that you will receive such recognition. And the two cases that I had mentioned showed that indeed this is the case. But in most cases, it is an essential precondition for achieving this recognition. And we have also found that prior to declaring independence, a very important factor to lay the ground for recognition is the establishment of diplomatic or paradiplomatic structures that allow a secessionist movement to address key regional or international powers. And we have seen that it is essential to present a narrative, you know, that presents the secessionist movement and the potential independence of a country as a positive step towards the interests of independent states of the international community. And it is important to find common points with their foreign policies. It is important to present how potential independence can serve the interests of these states. And when such para-diplomatic activity is carried out in this way, the likeliness of recognition increases, and in some cases it is even more likely to obtain external support if circumstances allow. Oh, sorry. Now, success of paradiplomatic activities rely, among other factors, on projecting credibility. This is a very important fact that we see in the cases that we analyze. Major preconditions for projecting credibility, we would say that first, it is about showing strategic unity among all the actors that are involved in a secessionist movement. This is very important. And second, it is also important to prove determination to achieve independence and willingness also to achieve the costs that such a secession procedure can entail. And proving to regional or international powers that these conditions are met also increase the likeliness that these powers can consider seriously or in a positive way the bid for independence of a secessionist movement. Now, we have also found that most of the studied cases use in their narrative human rights cases, and that this is a very important element in this narrative. It is important because it makes the secessionist claim more understandable for the wider international community. It also appeals especially to international public opinion and public opinions of certain states that are considered to be important. It provides a very good framing for remedial secession, one of the main claims that is usually used by secessionist movements to justify the need for independence. Well, we have also found that, of course, relying on this factor only, normally without putting too much work on the other aspects that we have mentioned so far, normally leads to the failure of the objectives of a secessionist movement. I mean, using this discourse on its own without working on the other aspects normally doesn't get the support from main regional or international powers. And also, when it comes to projecting the narrative of secessionist movements, it has to be said that diasporas can play an important role. And of course, direct pro-independence advocacy is one of the main things that diasporas can do, and this is very important. But there are also other things that diasporas can do. For instance, they can engage in cultural and educational activities. In some of the cases that we have analyzed, these factors have proven to build a positive image of a country before international public opinions and the concrete public opinions of certain states. And diasporas are also very important to promote funding initiatives for secessionist movements. This is also something that we have clearly seen in some of the analyzed cases. And well, before we finish, I would also like to go back to one of the most important aspects that we have analyzed in this report, which is the consideration of the geostrategic environment and the exogenous interest of a secessionist movement. And well, first of all, it has to be said that being aware of the geostrategic importance and the potential assets that you can provide for regional or international powers is a key factor to maximize the possibilities of third parties' interest and engagement in favor of a secessionist movement and its claim toward independence. There are several geopolitical factors that can be considered here when building a narrative to present a potential secession as a favorable fact that is in line with the interests of a regional or international power. For instance, we can consider the important role that a potential independent country can play for the security interests of a certain power, also for the importance of trade routes and infrastructure, some transport network, also migration routes. There are many factors that can be considered and that can be used when building this narrative. And in any case, analyzing and exploiting global and regional geopolitical competition has proven to be very useful in most of the cases that we have analyzed. And finally, it has to be said that regional and global powers can be normally are very reluctant to recognize, to hold a favorable view on secessionist movements and the prospect of non-independent countries to become independent, because they fear the instability that such precedent could project for other secessionist movements. And well, there are some things that secessionist movements can do in order to overcome this obstacle. First, it is one thing that we have also mentioned, the establishing fait accompli on the ground. This is something that it is very useful to modify the interests of regional and global powers that are affected by a potential secession of a non-independent country. And basically because fait accompli can project the idea that maintaining the unity, the territorial unity of a certain state is more costful than accepting the secession of the non-independent state. Fait accompli on the ground is essential to project this image. And then second, before engaging in declaring independence and trying to obtain territorial control, some of the studied cases, we have also seen that what they do to tackle fears of potential destabilizing effects of their independence is insisting on the unique nature of their situation. the unique nature of their claim for independence, and therefore, this way they try to reassure regional and international powers that they will not set a strong precedent by achieving their independence. They will not set a strong precedent for other pro-independence movements in the region or around the world. Well, basically, I don't think we have much more time, so I will leave it here. Thank you very much for your attention.
Yeah. Thank you for your attention. Just as a reminder, you can read and have a look at the report at our website. It's both published in Catalan and English at Catalonia Global. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Abel and Daniel, for your insightful analysis and contributions. Thank you. They have certainly given us plenty of food for thought. We're going to move on now to our roundtable. So I'd like to invite our panelists and our moderator, Mr. Alay, to the table, please. Yes, please. Mrs. Edna Adan and Mrs. Rubina Greenwood. Yes, thank you. We are so honored to have such outstanding panelists and moderator. I have already introduced Josep Alay, and I would now like to also briefly introduce our 4 panelists, although you do have the information in the booklet that we have distributed. I will start with Mrs. Edna Adan Ismail. Mrs. Ismail is considered one of the most influential women in Africa today. Midwife, activist, and the first female foreign minister of Somaliland from 2003 to 2006. She previously served as Somaliland's Minister of Family Welfare and Social Development. Next to her, we have Mr. Taimor Aliassi. Welcome. Mr. Taimor Aliassi is the Executive Director and UN representative of the Kurdistan Human Rights Geneva. Mr. Aliassi is a Swiss citizen with a Kurdish background from Iran, the country he left after the 1979 revolution. Mr. Aliassi strives to promote democracy, respect for human rights and social development in Iranian Kurdistan and beyond. He advocates frequently at the United Nations as well as across parliaments, governments, and non-governmental organizations. Thank you. Next to Mr. Alay, we have Dr. Rubina Greenwood. Dr. Rubina is the World Sin Congress chairperson and currently Vice President of UNPO. Dr. Greenwood is a founding member of the Sin Dialogue Forum in the UK and the founder of the International Sindhi Women Organization in the UK and in the US. And last but not least, we have Dolkun Isa. Dolkun Isa is the current president of the World Uyghur Congress. He previously served as General Secretary and Chairman of the Executive Committee of the Congress. He has spoken on behalf of the rights of the Uyghurs in both capacities. He has also presented Uyghur human rights issues to the UN Human Rights Council, to the European Parliament, European governments, and international human rights organizations. He also served as the Vice President of UNPO. Thank you for being here, and Mr. Alay, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Good evening to our speakers. Well, I'm very honored to moderate this roundtable. I think we have about 45, 50 minutes to explain 4 very different cases, 4 very different peoples and movements engaged in a struggle for freedom. A struggle for freedom that, in our case, is centered in the defense of the right to self-determination. Actually, I'm very glad that all 4 cases are also not European cases and are exposed in Catalonia, in the heart of Europe, so becoming today and recently a kind of epicenter of the self-determination movement all around the world, even if we didn't succeed, but still we have a lot of hope for that success. And that's why we are also very interested to listen here in Barcelona to very different situations, that some of them go through referendums, but some of them go through direct struggle. Some of them go through civic movements. We have here very different kind of organizations. And of course, we have a single case that I want also they have done it before through the report of the Catalonia Global Institute, which is it's a singularity, which is the case of Somaliland. So Somaliland, I want to remind you that it's an independent state. We can call it de facto, de jure, whatever you want, but it's an independent state. And this is something also I think we have to consider here, especially, that not everything has to be completely prepared before you decide to go with all your strength for the final goal. And Somaliland did. They didn't know whether they would be recognized or not. They didn't know whether the members of the Security Council in the UN would accept them or not. But the fact is that they are an independent state. And that even if they don't have formal diplomatic relations, plenty of countries have relations with them. Maybe not public, or maybe public, or not diplomatically, but they are working as and let me start with this one, because you will be the first to explain us your case, and then we'll go secondly to Iranian Kurdistan, thirdly to Sindh, and finally to East Turkestan. And I would just introduce with a few words each of them. So Somaliland, it's an independent country since 1960. But the independence at that time, and you will explain it better than me. So after a few days of having this independence, Somaliland decided to join Italian Somalia when it became independent, and then establishing the new Somalia. But in 1991, they reinstated independence, and this is the situation in which they are now. In a very complicated, I want to remind you that we are in Africa, we are in the Horn of Africa. It's not precisely the most stable part of the world. So we just come from a very cruel and bloody war in Tigray, very near from Somaliland, which is still not ended inside Ethiopia. And then we have a Somalia, which is a failed state with a very strong organization, Al-Shabaab, which is a fundamentalist Islamic organization, which is all the time endangering Mogadishu and then, of course, also possibly Somaliland. On top of that, we have Puntland also, which has declared itself as an autonomous territory inside Somalia. And these are the neighbors with which Somaliland is trying to survive. So we are speaking here about survival, resilience, right? And success, because yours is a case in which the 3 factors are found together. So, well, this Somaliland is every day, I want to remind you, facing the threat of full war, is facing the threat of invasion, is facing the threat of terror, but they are still there. And here with us, well, this is Imma said that, and it's probably true, she's one of the most influential women in Africa, one of the most respected women in our neighboring country, and she was Minister of Foreign Affairs of Somaliland, and now it's the president of UNPO. So I think she is the best person to explain us the case of Somaliland. The floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Moderator and honorable members of the Catalan National Assembly, I bring you greetings from UNPO, and I also bring you greetings from my country, the Republic of Somaliland. Ladies and gentlemen, there must have been briefings distributed to you and the introductions that were made a little earlier. But I wish to share with you my conviction, my belief that there is an international conspiracy against my country, Somaliland. And why do I say this? I say this because I believe a country can only be born once. We were all born just once. We cannot be born twice. I say this because my country, Somaliland, which was formerly the British Somaliland Protectorate since 1884, gained its independence on the 26th of June, 1960. And to differentiate between our neighbors in the Horn of Africa, because we have 5 different countries inhabited by Somalis. You have the Republic of Djibouti, which was La Côte Française des Somalis. You have British Somaliland Protectorate in green. And then to our east, you have La Somalia Italiana, which is the Somalia of today that you all know about. Then there's the Somali region in Ethiopia. And then there's the northern part of Kenya. So there are 5 Somali nations in the Horn of Africa. Because our names are similar. Somali region of Ethiopia, Somali region of Kenya, Somali region of... But it's like North Africa. If we had different names, there wouldn't be any confusion. You have Morocco, an Arab country. You have Tunisia, an Arab country. Algeria, an Arab country. Egypt, an Arab country. So being all Somalis doesn't necessarily mean that we should all be just one, have one identity. And then what is interesting is that my country, the former British Somaliland Protectorate, was the first of the 5 Somalis to become independent on that date that I gave you, 26 June. That gives my country legitimacy and legality. Our independence came through a legal process and agreements with our former partners, Britain, that gave us our independence. And when Somaliland became independent on that date, we became the 12th African country to become independent. And 42 African countries today sitting in the African Union were still under colonial rule, including a neighbor, former Italian Somalia, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Algeria, and so on. 42 countries were still under colonial rule when my country, Somaliland, was independent. But the paradox is those countries that gained independence after we did are today sitting in the African Union and denying Somaliland our right to our rightful identity and to our existence. This is totally unjust, because the African Union knows fully well, because it sent observers, the AU is fully aware that Somaliland fully, entirely lives within the territory that was formerly British Somaliland Protectorate. We did not change our situation, our place, our name. We are the same. But in spite of that injustice, and in spite of that conspiracy that has gone on for 32 years against my country, we continue to remain committed to the peace and stability of the region. We have unreserved respect for the unity and territorial integrity of nations and states. And we do not believe in the fragmentation of Africa, nor do we call for the revision of Africa's borders. For these reasons, allowing Somalia to claim ownership over Somaliland is totally immoral, when in fact it was Somaliland that first became independent. It was Somaliland that secured membership with the United Nations before we united with Somalia. It is Somaliland that has been living within its internationally defined borders. And it is Somaliland that has been stable and peaceful for the past 32 years, when Somalia has been given the identity of being the most unstable and failed state. We therefore claim full ownership of our name, our identity, our language, our culture, our tradition, and of course, our sovereignty. Ladies and gentlemen, withdrawing from a failed union with Somalia, and we withdrew from that failed state when we had a war. In that picture, you will see tanks. Our country was littered with military hardware, MiGs and tanks and cannons. And what do cannons do? There's horrible massacres, there's pictures. This is the contents of just one single mass grave. And it contains the remains of children, of babies, 2 and 3 and 5-year-olds. The skulls are so small that many of them disintegrated. What is the military value of putting children into mass graves? I guess somebody needed to do that, and I can't understand why. Somalia does not make us the first independent African country to have entered into a voluntary union with another and then withdrawn from that union intact. Egypt and Syria have done so. Senegal and Gambia, and Senegal and Mali all have done likewise, but have never been punished for going into a union, nor for withdrawing from it. But Somaliland has been punished for 32 years. In that picture, you will see a hospital. Who bombs hospitals? Who bombs homes and civilian dwellings? Who puts airplanes in the air just to bomb a city full of civilians? And of course, every mother thinks her baby is the most beautiful, and I have a picture of my hospital there where I have lived for the past 25 years and where we have delivered 32 babies. But I will go on with my lecture. Unlike Somalia, we need no peacekeeping forces because we keep our own country peaceful in Somaliland. We established political parties. We have held a series of parliamentary and presidential elections, all witnessed by international observers who saw how every citizen of Somaliland over the years, over the age of 18, have lined up to cast their votes. Somalia, who is recognized by the international community, has been unable to hold even one election. For 1 minute, oh my God, please, I must run. I'm late, I'm old, I'm 85, I need time. And I've come a long way, so please don't choke me. Pictures there, you see a goat. That's how they left our hospitals. And I think we'll keep the pictures at that. Unlike Somalia, we need no peacekeeping forces, but we have elections. Now, while the international world spends billions of dollars on Somalia, we in Somaliland have our own currency. We generate our own resources to defend our country and train and run our army and police. We rely on ourselves to manage our government, establish our courts, have free and independent press, and provide health and social services, all free of charge, as well as education to boys and girls. Somaliland has built a country founded on peace, justice, and the rule of law. Now, the future of Somaliland is bright, and although our peace and stability have been threatened in recent months by terrorists and Shabab from the breakaway region of Puntland next door, we are exercising restraint and keeping cool heads in order not to tarnish a long track record of good relations with neighboring countries. Our growing trade and economy are also cornerstones of our foreign policy. We promote and we seek more stable and democratic, peaceful and prosperous Horn of Africa. Because Somaliland has never been part of Africa's problems, we hope that the world will begin to listen to us and give justice to our people who have a right to be heard, a right to be seen, a right to be recognized as responsible members of the international community. Ladies and gentlemen, Somaliland has been unjustly punished for the sins of others for far too long. For reasons unknown to us, Somalia, who has been the cause of our destruction, has been given the authority to represent us, when in fact we separated from Somalia far longer than we have been united. And where, we wonder, in the world, has the aggressor ever been given the authority to represent the victim? The world should see that Somaliland has the political maturity and the wisdom that the world needs to help bring peace to neighboring Somalia. The world needs Somaliland to be part of that, of the nations who are genuinely searching for solutions to the problems of Somalia. Somaliland is willing and ready for that responsibility. The case of Somaliland must be given a hearing and its day in court, so that at last peace will prevail, because there is no reunification ever possible between Somaliland and Somalia. Just as we have done all along, we in Somaliland continue to extend a hand of friendship to Somalia, to initiate serious dialogue, to find a peaceful solution to our differences, so that our people may at last find peace and stability on our common border, on both sides of our common border. If we had peace, we could join our efforts to address our common problems caused by drought, food insecurity, and malnutrition, and our resources would become better used to prevent and treat the diseases that are killing our people. If peace is found, we would better educate our youth, create jobs for them, and prevent them from being trafficked to Europe and beyond, only to drown in foreign seas or in foreign prisons. Ladies and gentlemen, I sincerely hope and pray that wisdom will prevail soon so that peace and stability may one day return to the Horn of Africa. And thank you for your attention and your hospitality. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your very moving speech. Really, thank you very much. We'll move now to the next case, which will be introduced by Mr. Taimor Aliassi, Executive Director of the Kurdistan Human Rights Geneva, representative at the UN. He will be explaining us the case of Iranian Kurdistan, Eastern Kurdistan, we should say, right, but which is inside Iran. As you know, Kurdistan is divided between 4 different states, in this case, Turkey, Iraq, Iran, and Syria. And I think the 4 situations are very different, right? So we have in Turkey what we could call in the Turkish occupied area of Kurdistan almost a full war with the PKK. In Syria, you know, we have the case of Rojava, so with this agreement with Damascus right now to keep an autonomous region, not only for Kurds, but also for Christians and for Arabs in Rojava. Then in the case of Iraq, we have the autonomous region of Kurdistan with a capital at Erbil, which is also a very different case. So they have a huge range of autonomy, although, well, it's a interesting case also to study because they had a referendum just 1 week before the Catalan referendum. They hold the referendum with a result, an overall majority for the yes, right? So, but they didn't succeed. So after the referendum, there was war, and nobody went to assist them. Nobody wanted to assist the autonomous Iraqi, Kurdish Iraqi region. And now, right now, they are in a stable situation, but as an autonomous region. And finally, we have Eastern Kurdistan, that you know also recently. It has been also very much in our media because of the case of the, discrimination against women and the case of the veil for women, which started actually in Tehran with a Iranian Kurdish woman. And Iranian Kurds are facing, of course, a brutal repression, so it's very different from the case of Iraq. And also in a situation in which they are divided in many different provinces, just provinces from Iran. And, Taimor Aliassi will, please, the floor is yours, will explain the complicated situation of Iranian Kurdistan. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, dear Alay. Indeed, you mastered the situation of Kurdish people. It's grateful. Hello and very good afternoon to all. First, I wish to thank our friends in the Catalan National Assembly for this important event. It's really a pleasure for me to be here to address, discuss some of the challenges that the Kurdish people and other Iranian nations are facing in the Islamic Republic of Iran. It is an honor to be in Barcelona to talk about the rights of self-determination and also to discuss the challenges that minorities are facing in Iran. Barcelona for us is really a place of true inspiration. We are uniting here from different corners of the world to talk and also to share the same, express the same values, concerns, fears, but also hopes for our peoples. Before highlighting some of these challenges, I would like to say a few words about the situation of Kurdish people in Iran, which exemplifies the treatment of all other nations in Iran, in my opinion. But before that, it is always important for us to remind that Iran is a multi-ethnic, and multi-religious country composed mainly of Kurds, Persians, Baluchis, Ahwazi Arab, Azeri Turks, and Turkmens. But the system of governance is based on a logic of one country, one nation, one language, and one religion. And the power is in the hand of just one group, which is the Persian Shia group. So the causes and the scale of discrimination, repression, and violence against Kurdish people and other minorities in Iran are inherent to the inception of the Islamic Republic of Iran. In August 1979, Ayatollah Khomeini, Iran's then supreme leader, declared a holy war against Kurdish people and framed them as anti-Islam and anti-revolutionary because they were simply for the establishment of a democratic, secular, and federal state in Iran. Since then, the Kurds are perceived and treated like a hostile group. And they are under diverse forms of repression. And they are also perceived by Iran's media like a hostile group, not only the official government. So in practice, over 50% of Iran's political prisoners and close to 60% of Iran's political executions are of Kurdish people. So since January this year, at least 150 prisoners have been executed in Iran. Over 40% of them are Kurds. This while the Kurdish people in Iran only amounts to 15% of Iran's 82 million population. According to the UN Special Rapporteur for Iran, since the start of the nationwide protests in Iran, after the death of Jina Amini, the Kurdish young girl, close to 550 protesters were killed, and over 50% of them are Baluchis and Kurds. In the meantime, over 300 girls and women from Kurdistan have been detained. They are subjected to severe torture, rape, arbitrary detention, and unfair trials. So these atrocities against Kurdish people are justified by the state hateful and violent discourses. Knowing that the most heinous mass crimes and genocides of our era were often preceded by hate speech and triggered by ethnic tensions. So for the first time in Iran's Islamic rule since the past 4 decades, Iranians are challenging their fears. Their hope for change is greater than their fear to take action. The Islamic Republic is facing its deepest power crisis. It has lost its legitimacy, and the days of the regime is numbered. Given the historical and the critical moments that we are witnessing in Iran, Iranian women, men and youth from all diverse and rich backgrounds have come together under the banner and the manifest of Jem Jian Azadi, Women, Life, Freedom, to call for regime change. We have been bombarding this message ever since with this slogan, Women, Life, Freedom, that has now become the war chant of the protesters in whole Iran to reverse the regime. Kurdistan has also played a major role in defeating the Islamic State and pays a huge price for developing a pluralist, tolerant, and egalitarian conception of a state, not only in Iran, but in whole Middle East, dominated by sectarian and Islamist radicalism. So the international community has a responsibility to act and to protect all Iranians, in particular girls, women, who are now undergoing chemical attacks in daily basis at the schools. And also the oppressed Baluchi and Kurdish minorities who have borne the brunt of these deadly crackdowns. Today, people in Iran are risking their lives and liberty to demand their rights, and they expect the EU state and the EU Council to support them by designating the Islamic Revolutionary Guards responsible for the crackdown as a terrorist organization, and to put an end to Iran's long history of impunity. Such a step is not just essential, it is long overdue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now we are continuing our travel east, so we'll move to Pakistan. And within Pakistan, which is also a multi-ethnic state, it is not so much well known, but we find the Baluchis, by the way. You were mentioning the Baluchis in Iran. We have the Baluchis in Pakistan. We have the Pashtus, we have the Punjabis, and we have plenty of different peoples in the north of Pakistan, of course. And in the end, we have the Sindhis in Sindh. And this is the case we are going now to deal with. So we were coming from one of the cradles of civilization, north of Mesopotamia, and we are going to another cradle of civilization, right? Because it's not so well known, but Sindh actually is Hind, which is Ind, which is India, which is the Indus River. So one of the most important rivers in the world, and one of the cradles of civilization, like the Nile River, like the Tigris, the Euphrates, the Yellow River, and finally the Indus River. So Sindh means exactly that. So from, well, the lost cities of Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, and so on, we have this special province right now of Pakistan, struggling also for survival, in this case facing repression, forced conversions. We'll see that, well, about 70 years ago, about 25% of the population were Hindus, and 75 Muslims, and also Sikhs. But most of the Hindus left after the partition. We have 4 million Sindhis in India, which, by the way, I have to say that Sindhi is an official language, it's a scheduled language in India. It's the only one without a territory, which is official because of the large amount of refugees who had to escape from Pakistan into India. But basically, the national issue is in Pakistan right now, with about 35 million people with their own language, which is the Sindhi language. So Dr. Rubina Greenwood will be so kind to explain us the situation right now in Sindh and your World Sindh movement also. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Josep. And first of all, I'm really grateful for National Assembly of Catalan, the Catalonia Global Institute for inviting me for this forum. It is indeed an honor to be here and with the Catalan people and other nations of member of United UNPO as well. The Sindh, which is the homeland of 45 million Sindhis, the descent of 5,000 years old Indus civilization, is now a province of Pakistan since 1947. When British colonized India in 8th century, it colonized not only one country named India, but the numerous countries with the distinct cultures, languages, geography. And my homeland, Sindh, was conquered by British in 1852. And when they left, we were made part of the Pakistan, newly formed country. Like many other nations in Africa and Asia, the Sindhi nation never came to terms with these new propped-up states, often orchestrated by the departing colonizers to serve their interest in the post-colonial period. Sindhis are politically, economically, and culturally subjugated by the Pakistani military and the dominant nation of Punjabis. Sindhis do not agree with Pakistan's warmongering its militant Islamic and pan-Islamic ambitions, and more so for its nuclear arms. That is why the World Sindhi Congress I represent today promote the right of self-determination for Sindhis in Pakistan. We believe that the right of self-determination is the best tool for nations to negotiate and assert their identity as well as fair and balanced multinational states. I further advocate that the right of self-determination must be available along with the right to succession to be effective means to the equitable multi-nation states. I want to emphasize that the salient features of the Sindhi national self-determination struggle, which will be interest to many fellow panelists here, and may lead to important discussion later, that our movement has many progressive elements. It accommodates the multilingual, multi-religion Sindhi identity, and it is openly non-violent. It incorporates democracy, secularism, socialism, and embraces the liberal values and aspects of nationalism, which aspires to a just, equitable, and purely democratic society. It does not include or intrude on the boundaries of other nations and ethnicities or countries. Like many indigenous peoples and nations, Sindh's national self-determination struggle is also an environmental justice. Sindh currently contributes 69% of federal income to Pakistan revenue, and it has only one deep sea port. 71% of gas and all 75% of resources comes from Sindh, and in return, Sindh gets only 11% of the federal government income. 60% of our Sindhis live below poverty line, and 80% of people in Sindh doesn't have access to the fresh water. 30% is education rate for the women, and over 7 million children are out of the schools. And that is the state of our nation, which is one of the richest states within Pakistan. We seek right to self-determination for Sindhis and other sub-state nations within Pakistan, including Baloch, Pashtuns, and such an entitlement of these nations will create a democratic, peaceful, and prosperous region and a global security point of view. This world is actually driven and dominated by post-colonial legacies, and many nations are still suffering under these states' yoke. Catalan, Uyghurs, and many other nations want their legitimate sovereignty, but are denied their self-governance and self-determination. And the international system is fixated on the status quo of these inorganic and often undemocratically formed states. We need to unite to look at those states. The question is that what can we do? What can be done in the meantime? And we, the unrepresentative nations, must boldly support each other by building alliances, forums, to become a force for a just society around the world. However, in Catalan's case, your independence is nonviolent and democratic, but it still is unavailable. You are the largest democracy in the world, but still you are not recognized. Look at us, Pakistan is 122nd a democratic country in the hierarchy. Our life, our struggle is almost impossible. We need international support. We need international alliances and support and publicity on that element. We need to come up with some sort of a forum which actually internationally push back these status quo of these United Nations member states, which can give us a room to talk and have a dialogue for us, people who are not represented here. I want to really thank you for this opportunity, and people of Catalan for giving this opportunity, and it's the first time for me here to present my case. I don't want to take more time, but thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. So now we'll move to a neighbor of Pakistan, actually, in the north, through the Karakorum Highway. That's one of the Chinese, right, constructions together with Pakistan to link precisely the Indian Ocean with East Turkestan. Actually, East Turkestan right now, currently, is the autonomous region of Xinjiang inside China. And, well, when you are autonomous in China, that means that you are more watched than anybody else in the country. So Tibet is an autonomous region. East Turkestan is an autonomous region. Inner Mongolia is an autonomous region. And then we have two more. But in any case, these three, and especially East Turkestan and Tibet, are probably the number one enemies of the Chinese government, which, by the way, in this case, we are facing a huge power. I mean, the second one, but maybe the first one, we don't know. There's a lot of geopolitical movement right now. We know the importance that China is also now not only economically achieving, but also from a political side. So East Turkestan, actually, I want to say that it's a huge country, too. I mean, it's 1.7 million square kilometers. That means that if we had, and I hope in the future, an independent Eastern Turkestan republic, it would be the 15th largest country in the world. 15, 1-5, right? It's a very rich country. And the main nationality is the Uyghur, but we also have the Kazakhs, and we have the Mongolians also, and other nationalities. And to explain this very important case, which, I mean, somehow it influences the whole world through the Chinese geopolitics, we have Dolkun Isa, who is the president of the World Uyghur Congress. He's somebody who had to escape from China in 1994, right? We almost coincided in Urumqi when he had to leave and when I was going into the city. And he's been, that's hard to imagine, eh? He's been from 1997 to 2018, for more than 21 years, he's been on the Interpol Red Notice, which is something hard to explain, right? That you have explained it in a very recently published book. I want to mention also the China Freedom Trap that you wrote and published last year, which are basically your memories. And, well, imagine that China is looking after you everywhere in the world with an Interpol Red Notice, with accusations of terrorism, right? So, well, I think that the most serious you can get right now. And you had to deal with that for 21 years. Finally, Interpol, 5 years ago, decided to delete this red notice. And look, I mean, it has coincided. It was, Dolkun Isa was free to travel all over the world, except for China and a few more, right? But especially China. This is something that sounds very familiar also here. Somebody who cannot travel to his own country. I want to say it here. But I mean, in the case of Dolkun Isa, that's China. And see how the Uyghur movement has advanced in these 5 years. Thanks to him, thanks to the geopolitics, of course, thanks to the special difficult relation right now between the US and China. But, I mean, just 10 years ago, the Uyghur case was very, 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 less known. And right now is one of the most important, not self-determination cases, but one of the most important geopolitical cases in the world. So, well, it's a pleasure to have you here. He's an old friend of mine. So please, Dolkun Isa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, dear friend Josep. And it is my great honor to be here and talking about the Uyghur prospects. And this is a very important topic today, is the self-determination and independence. And before I speak, I would like to thank for the Catalan National Assembly and its president, Madame Dolores Fellow, and my dear friend is Alessandra, the hosting such a wonderful event today. Just a few months ago, in the middle of January, I and my team is here, we visiting the Catalan National Assembly. We got and listen from and Alessandra. She talking about and gives us some lectures, briefing, and the Catalan independence, self-determination movement experience, because we learned a lot. We learned a lot from Catalan people's self-determination right and independent movement. As Josep said, yes, we call it Turkestan. China calls this region is the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. So today tomorrow we will start UNPO Unrepresented Nation People's Organization General Assembly. Most of the members of the UNPO, we have a similar problem. Today here is just we learn 4 cases, but more than 44 members of the UNPO, most of them we have a similar problem. So that's why now is the self-determination, independence is a really, really important issue around the world, but unfortunately, countries never respect this international law. Self-determination is the basic right according to international law, actually. It is not crime, but unfortunately today, and the self-determination is the crime. For us, the crime. From other people, Catalan people is crime. So that's why hundreds of thousands of people, 100,000 of Uyghurs, Tibetan, Catalan, and some other people is today suffering in the jail today, unfortunately. So, East Turkestan is the Uyghur people have a right to be independent. We have a right to self-determination. But today, as you say, I'm the terrorist. One of the top terrorists of the Chinese list. 2003, Chinese government issued one big list. 11 Uyghur organizations, 11 Uyghur people, Uyghur leaders, and 4 Uyghur organizations is the exiled terrorist. One of them, me. I'm one of the top terrorists, number 3 terrorists on the Chinese list. Number 1 is died, and the number 2 at the moment. You know? So that's why I was detained so many country border. You say I cannot enter not only China. Today I cannot enter so many countries. I was detained in so many country border because of my demand. It is a self-determination right. You know, I was detained in the middle of Europe, in Italy, 2017. Yes, I was detained in Geneva. I was detained in Germany. Yes, I'm not detained in China, some other part. And the center of the democracy, you know, and the center of the Western democracy, and the center of the rule of law, such country. So that's why China is so strong. China trying to monopolize this international order. China trying to monopolize the international United Nations human rights system. China misuses international institution like Interpol. You know, I have read notes more than 21 years. Yeah, this is just example. So today, and more than 3 million Uyghur, Kazakh, people in the concentration camp. No? This is completely same style as a Nazi concentration camp. Nazi concentration camp that time is not surveillance system, not camera. But now the Chinese government use advantage of the technology and the surveillance of entire Uyghur population. Only now it's 3 million, we're talking about 3 million Uyghurs suffering concentration camp. But rest of them, more than 20 million Uyghur people are suffering also staying as an open air prison. Since 2017, we have lost contact with family member. I personally, my parents, my brother, sister, everyone is staying in my hometown, is Turkestan. But since the 6 years, we haven't lost contact. We haven't contact with my family. We lost contact. Only time to time, something happening in your family, and this news found us via some channel. Since 2018, I got first heartbreaking news. My mother died concentration camp. She was 8 years old lady. She is a pensioner, not politician, not activist, nothing. You know, because she is Uyghur, because she's ethnicity is Uyghur, because she is my mother. This is the crime. My father died 2020. I learned this news from the Chinese Global Times, Chinese media. But still, I have no idea what kind of circumstances he passed away. Before my mother, after my mother, 2020, 2019. This is the 21st century. You can call everywhere. Just your phone, you can call around the world. But I cannot, we cannot. The Uyghur who live in exile, we cannot access. No. So now it's more than 1 million Uyghur children separate from family. And these Uyghur children subject to indoctrinate, denounce national and religious identity, change name, forced to speaking Chinese. This is happening today. And in the concentration camp, Uyghur women, forced sterilization, sexual abuse, rape. BBC, Al Jazeera, CNN documented it. You know? So many, at least 5, 6 documentary already published by the international media. No? Since 2017 to 2020, within 3 years, Chinese government demolished 8,000 mosques. If you look at before the 2017 is used a satellite image, this mosque was exist. But now this mosque is completely no sign, just turned into the public place, toilet, bar, hotel, change it. Yeah. But China continues saying, oh, we respect religious freedom. China uses its economic power trying to impose its authoritarian regime to the entire world. Today, China is not only threatened for the Uyghur, Tibet, and Hong Kong. Hong Kong democracy disappeared today. No autonomy anymore. It was happening just a couple of years ago. You know? Yeah. Chinese government commit genocide against Uyghurs. Chinese government commit cultural genocide against Tibetan people. Today, Taiwanese sovereignty is under threat. Oh no, maybe next month, next week, Xi Jinping can start war against Taiwan. But no, entire world just temporarily benefit, thinking temporarily benefit, and they make business. You know, 2 weeks ago, Prime Minister of Spain visit China. After 2-3 weeks ago, Macron, President of and the French, visiting China. They are talking about just business, just of the money. Of course, money is important, but people's die. People's die. Okay, today is world, entire world silence. Then after 10 years later, now China is second big economy around the world. You know, if after 10 years, 15 years later, if China being first economy, what kind of world we are living? No? People should be understand this. We are talking about from the old experience. We are warning the world because today CCP, Chinese Communist Party, is threatening danger to the entire world. World democracy, peace, not only threatened for us today. Today already in the Rubina talking about the situation is Pakistan, in Sindh people, Baluchi people. CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, is a $65 billion project. This project is a territorial expansion project. Today, more than 12,000 Chinese military is already settled down in the Gilgit, Pakistan.
And Sindh and Balochistan.
In the Balochistan, destroyed all the entire population. So, So now we are talking about from the all experience, we're warning to the world because it's today Western democracy, unfortunately, is not coming united voice. Split. China, very master to split the voice. Today is have a huge problem is United States, then immediately jump into the European Union. Then now, unfortunately, is the democratic nation, democratic voice not coming together. Split all the time because temporarily economic benefit. But authoritarian regime, authoritarian voice is getting united under leadership of China, CCP. They are coming together. We have seen in the United Nations everywhere. So I have only 1 minute's time, sorry. So this is the time in the democratic nations should be united, should be speaking loudly, should be stop China, Russia. Today is Putin and the start of war against Ukraine. No? Behind of the Putin is China, Xi Jinping. Yeah, support. Maybe next year, and China is attacks Taiwan. So that's why we should be more careful. It is a time entire democracy and particularly unrepresented people like Catalan, Uyghur, Tibet, all should be united and they should be support each other. But the support should not be only oral support, not only should be moral support. Support should be within is action. Action. If you remember, last year September is Catalan Independence Day. 100,000 Catalan flag only, but one different flag there. This is this flag, this blue flag. This, we are coming here. My colleague Zumratai hangs the Turkestan flag, shows the solidarity of Catalan people. All entire Catalan TV, media, social media, and Spain media is reported it. Do you remember that? Did you remember? Yes. So this is the solidarity. We have to solidarity each other. We have to stand together with action. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just let me remind that the World Uyghur Congress is nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in 2023. So we hope that this time Oslo will remember the Uyghurs as it has remembered Tibetans and Chinese. So, well, we have not much time. I think we have about 10 minutes left. So I was planning to put some questions on the table, but I will split it into two and only ask two of you for each of the questions. So first of all, probably I would like to ask Dr. Greenwood and Mr. Aliassi about the question of where do you, in your cases, which are a bit different, of course all are very different among themselves, but especially in your cases, where do you think that lies the political solution for your cause? I mean, in the case of Pakistan, would you be, the walls in the Congress is advocating for a full independent country, or your self-determination is more for, we all know Pakistan, and the history behind Pakistan, how it was created, the partition, the special relation with India. Are you looking for a federal solution or a real federal Pakistan? Or really you want to go to the last, step, which is independence? And in the case of the Eastern Kurdistan, I would make the same question. I mean, as you said, Iran is a multi-ethnic state. So sometimes when you hear this, you think that there is still hope if there is a change of regime, if the Islamic Republic falls, there is still hope for a federal Iran accommodating all the different nationalities inside, or not? Or really, Eastern Kurdistan is going also for the last step, which is the independent an independent republic. So please, if you want to start.
Thank you, Josep. I just wanted to remind that it's been more than 70 years we have been living with Pakistan and Pakistan federal structure. After trying and living with 70 years, there is no room for Sindhis to be with Pakistan or within Pakistan. So I'm very clear, and my people are very clear, we want full succession out of Pakistan, full right of self-determination. And there's a discussion in Sindh, of course, that how we go about for right of self-determination, because we may need to have a parliament structure. But I just wanted to say that even if you look at Bangladesh case, in an undemocratic country, a country which is totally dominated by militarizations and unconstitutional, undemocratic country, we cannot build any hopes, any democratic processes. So we have tried for 70 years for democratic processes, and now we're going to go for international, under the international law, international support for full succession of independence. So we are very clear, our people are very clear. Not only we are economically, financially, administratively, we are fully strong and capable, and that it can show you that that is the very reason Pakistan is not easy giving us up, because we own the 70% of federal income is in our country. So, answer to straight question, full succession, and I appreciate that there is a whole process of going through it. But in 70 years, we have tried devolutions. We have 18 amendments. We tried a lot of constitutional instruments. But in the end of it, Pakistan is 122nd in the list of democratic country, the country which has no understanding of democracy. I'm not going to, or Sindhis not the fool to understand, and same case for the Balochistan. So we are looking for full succession with the full right of self-determination. Thank you.
Thank you. And just remind that Karachi is the capital of Sindh, and it's the most important economic capital of Pakistan, a huge port in the Indian Ocean, right?
Yeah, one of the main seaport is in Karachi, which is the capital of Pakistan. So which Dolkun mentioned about CPEC project, which it starts from the north, ends in the Sindh. So you could see strategically importance of the Karachi and capital city and the overall, the resources. Just want to remind that at the moment we have $23 trillion worth of coal, which is 99% of the regional coal reserve, in the fifth largest reserve coal is in Sindh. And that's strategically we are important for the whole regions of economic things in Sindh. So that's why I said we economically, financially, administratively, we are ready, but we need international support and international positioning on that. Thank you.
Thank you. So, and Eastern Kurdistan?
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, first, it is really the dream of every Kurdish citizen to see an independent Kurdistan state, and this mine also. But just one thing to remember, on 24th July this year will be the 100 years commemoration of Lausanne Treaty, which divided Kurdistan among four states: Turkey, Iran, Syria, and Iraq by the then powers France, Britain, and Italy with Turkey. So, but we are realistic. Kurdistan is geographic. Kurdistan is surrounded by four hostile states like Iran, Turkey, Syria, and Iraq, who each have a part of Kurdistan. And in 2017, Iraqi Kurdistan, there was a referendum, as you said. 93% of the population wanted a state, but then it was squeezed by the surrounding state, and it couldn't survive. So for the Iran case, it is a multi-ethnic country, mainly 6 nations: Kurds, Persians, Arabs, Turks, and Turkmen. And I think the best solution will be a federal state. Iran is really a huge country. It just has 2,000 kilometers frontier with ex-Sovietic, and it has 1,700 kilometers with Iraq, Iraqi Kurdistan. So if there is not a peaceful solution toward a solution to the question of identity, there will be a civil war. Now and then there is this slogan in Iran, either we go like Yugoslavia or Czechoslovakia. This is the slogan today that we see. But the best solution for now, I think the realistic one, is the federalism for Iran.
Thank you. And then the last question for Somalilanders and for Uyghurs. I mean, well, both of you mentioned Taiwan, right, for different reasons. But this brings us to a common point, right, how the geopolitics is being shaken right now by the Ukrainian and Russian war in Europe. At least it's shaking Europe, right? We don't know how much it will shake the whole world. We don't know. I mean, sometimes we think that Europe is the center of the world, right? But many other things are happening in the world right now. But I'm sure that in your minds you have, I mean, been reflecting on what would happen with this new kind of order, which is coming from this strong alliance between Russia and China, and with the opposition of the EU together with the United States. So how is this, you know, Ethiopia is there, Somalia is there, Russia is trying to go back to Africa, China is already there. So how is Somaliland dealing with this new order appearing since 1 year ago?
Well, I think our relationship, we have been ignored. For 32 years, we just did not exist. We were not on anybody's map. We were unknown, unseen, unheard. And our friendship with Taiwan is just a few years old. America totally ignored us. It closed down its military base in Berbera in 1978. And since that time, America just did not know Somaliland. The scary thing is, the worrying thing is that Somaliland has an 850-kilometer coastline at the mouth of the Red Sea to the Indian Ocean. 850 kilometers where 12% of the world's shipping lines pass through to get to the Red Sea and then to the Suez Canal. There are thousands of ships that go past our waters. And our border between Somalia, Puntland, which is known as the world's most pirate-infested waters, is to our right. If we become, and Somalia is giving licenses to China, which has a big military base in Djibouti, and our 850 kilometers of coastline is becoming infested by supposedly shipping vessels, most of them given licenses by Somalia. Who knows whether they're shipping vessels or what other business they have there. So because of our isolation, because of the world abandoning us, if our 850 kilometers water fall into the wrong hands, the world's shipping lines will be affected. And what is difficult to understand is the world spent so much money to fight terrorism, to fight Shabab, to fight all those fundamentalist regimes that are causing instability in the world. And if the world makes a gift of Somaliland to Somalia, it's going to be a world disaster. Now, we are used to fending for ourselves in Somaliland because we've been abandoned. We developed the art of survival, of self-reliance, of being just, we just survive. And we can survive for another 30 or 40 years without recognition. But can the world survive if Somaliland falls in the wrong hands? So what will happen, God only knows. But if Somaliland falls, it will be a mess. So thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Uyghurs, of course, have border with China, inside China, but you also have border with the Russian Federation in the north, yes, right? Small, yes, but you have it. Yes, so how do you see the geopolitical situation right now?
Well, no, I already mentioned today the Russian war and against Ukraine and the strong support on the table and by the Xi Jinping. Before starts this war, as you remember, February 14, just 1 week before and 2 weeks and 1 month before, 3 weeks before. Putin visit Beijing Winter Olympic, they discuss. Then 14th of February, after just finish the Beijing Olympic starts this far. So China, is a new Silk Road project. Is built on the road project. This is China. This project have more than contracts 80 countries around the world. They are saying it's a win-win politic. China saying, and they will benefit the entire world of the region. But actually, this project, Belt Road project, is territorial expanded project. Today, China has a territorial problem in the entire world. All neighboring countries have a problem with India, no? Territorial problem. Even China has a problem with Russia. Because now is alliance each other, but how long? Because they have own interest, and historically. And China today have a problem is Japan, territorial problem, and the Philippines, entire, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Central Asia. Now China built this project, trying to use the economic, trying to monopolize this country. We had very good experience now. For example, at the beginning, China give loan to the Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan. This country is all very corrupted government. Chinese government know very well they couldn't pay back this money to the China. Why China gives this money? China say, don't worry. You pay me back. If you cannot pay back, no problem, you give me your land. You give territory. China very successfully, 2013, Tajikistan give 1,000 square kilometer land to the China. And the same thing was happening 2018, and a huge national demonstration started in Kazakhstan, and they immediately stopped this. So China has not is a red line. No red line. CCP, has no red line. If you tolerance one step and coming back next step. Problem is entire world doesn't understand Chinese mentality, CCP mentality. Entire world thought China is normal government. It's not normal government. It is the mafia. Yeah, really. Because CCP is the largest terrorist organization. Yes. So this is the problem is, if you have a dialogue with the other country, or show respect, okay, this respect, dialogue is playing role, give some effect in the democratic society, is a European country, but in China is not such a country. This only understands the power, I have a power if you show the respect, and it's the dialogues, China, I'm strong good enough. That's why you respect me. If you attack to China strongly, then China is, okay, sorry, maybe I have some mistake. This is the Chinese mentality. This is particularly CCPs. So we are advocating to the entire world. It is a time, it is not correct time business as usual with China. It is a time should be sanctioned. Is the entire world sanctions Russia? It is good. We have seen some good step. But now is Russia use China, all petrol, gas, export entire world, Russia is continue doing, have a capability, have a money to continue to this war. So that's why it is same time to sanction China entire world. Then this Russian war can be stopped. Then and the China can be stopped to expand it. A policy with the Uyghurs, Tibetan is the front line for protecting the other nation. So that's why entire world should be help us, stand with us. This is the benefit not only for us, benefit entire world. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I think we are completely out of time. Actually, 30 minutes late, but it's been a very interesting conversation and discussion. So thank you very much to the 4 speakers, and thank you very much to all of you for your attention. Thank you. Good day. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Very interesting conversation, great solutions with engagement. And I would like now to invite you all to continue the conversation with the panelists and other members of UNPO. Seize the opportunity downstairs while we're having some drinks. And thank you for being here. And let's keep hopeful. These nations are great inspiration to all of us. Thank you.